Hello, and welcome to the Block Solid podcast, where we talk about the evolution of blockchain and the property market, the newest technologies that enhance and revolutionize the world of real estate as we know it, and how we, the owners, the buyers, the renters, the investors, and the entrepreneurs can benefit from it all. I'm Yael Tamar, CEO and co-founder of SolidBlock, a pioneer startup in real estate tokenization, and I'd like to welcome Kostas Ketikidis, co-founder, Head of Metaverse Developments at Everyrealm. Hi, Kostas. How are you doing?
Hi, Yael. Nice to be in the podcast. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I've been fascinated with your company for a while, and this is really exciting for me and for all the listeners who want someone knowledgeable to unpack what the metaverse is, how it's going to develop further, what kind of content is on the metaverse today, and which trends are we to expect to appear on the metaverse, right? And who is better to talk about the metaverse other than you, one of the pioneers in the industry, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. So before we jump into Everyrealm, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, where you came from, and how you arrived to this industry?
During the pandemic, we were all playing video games. We were all playing on virtual platforms like Decentraland or Sandbox or Crypto Voxels. So we had this idea to launch a private investment vehicle. And that's how we dipped our toes into the metaverse real estate. Essentially launched this private investment vehicle to give exposure to investors who wanted to invest but didn't know how to use a wallet to acquire land or NFTs or tokens on a blockchain.
Yeah. Okay. So people or investors are able to put money into your investment vehicle, and they're getting exposure to the increases in the value of land on the metaverse, because you guys go and you invest those funds into land plots that you decide are going to go up in price, right?
Yeah, we have invested in 25 different metaverse platforms, and we own approximately 3,000 NFTs of digital land.
Wow.
We're well diversified.
Okay, got it. But how does the diversification in the metaverse really works, right? Because you have obviously several platforms, and I'd love for you to name those metaverse platforms. And then how do you decide about what to buy?
So you have to look at this like a typical VC would. You would have to look at the traction of the platform. You would have to look at the community behind the platform. You would have to evaluate the team and talk to them. That's how you decide if you're going to invest or buy land in their platform. Essentially, there's a bigger risk when you are buying land, because you are not only buying, let's say, a token that has liquidity, you're buying something that's in the ecosystem. So you're making a twofold bet. You're not only betting that this company is going to exist in the future, but your asset, the asset that you are buying, is going to hold some value in a few years from now.
Yeah, talk to me about the process. So where do you go to find, I'm assuming that you're investing in a specific plots of land in Decentraland or Sandbox, or are you investing in the actual platforms and acquiring tokens from those platforms, meaning platform from up on top?
We do both, but we are mostly investing in digital land. And there are some criteria that you can use to evaluate if the land is valuable or not, or if its value is going to increase in the future. For example, one of these are the traction, as I mentioned, the community behind the platform, and also if the company has notable partnerships. For example, Sandbox is one of the metaverse platforms that has a lot of companies. They have partnered with Snoop Dogg, Smurfs, The Walking Dead. Most recently, they partnered with Gucci, Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
So these are some factors that you need to consider before investing in a virtual platform that offers land. Obviously, it's not really land. It's an NFT. It's a token.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not real land, but it's basically a land where you can place advertisement, right?
You can do that, of course, but I think the metaverse, these virtual platforms need something more. They need great content. It's like you're watching Netflix. You need great content. So that's something that is going to attract users.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that's going to attract creators as well. There's a creator economy behind all these digital platforms.
Right. Why invest in digital land today? What are the values?
That is a good question. If you are a firm believer that the metaverse is going to be a thing in the future, if you believe in digital ownership, if you want to move away from being used, your personal data being used against you, then the metaverse and Web3 is something that you should invest in. Does it make sense?
No, of course. So let's assume that, we're very bullish on that and I want to invest, start buying. I actually have a few clients. We have a few clients at Solid Block, let's say maybe hospitality companies or some are, shopping malls, and they want to open shop in the metaverse. They want to dip their toes in the metaverse right today. So what are their options? What can they buy today? What can they use their digital land for today? And why should they get involved?
It really depends on the company. Some sectors are not really cut out to be in the metaverse. For example, hospitality, I'm not sure if there's a great use case right now. Personally, I don't think replicating physical buildings in the virtual world is something that, what the so-called digital twins are. Yeah, I think that's something that doesn't really resonate with me. I think people need something more. They need to escape from their reality. So to answer your question about the options that you have to use your land in the metaverse, you have obviously the option to rent it, obviously the option to sell it if you're speculating. Yeah. And the third option is to develop it. There are actually no limitations to what you can do with it besides your creativity. Yeah. And obviously there are some technical limitations for its platform. Right. Of course, I understand. So development is interesting, right? So at the moment, since there is not a lot of content, I guess, and the development is not going to be development in the actual sense, right? Not in the sense that you're going to have to build something, because it's just a matter of taking a design and sticking it into the metaverse, right? So it's not like it's going to take a long time to build an actual building like in the real world. Yeah. But maybe you mean something else by developing community, developing use, or... Yeah, it means developing a 3D model. Yeah. You are developing digital building. Yeah. You can develop a shopping mall, a gallery. We can sell tickets, anything for commercial purpose. Yeah. I guess populated with content as well. Right. Obviously, yeah. You can have tenants who sell digital wearables. You can have a gallery that you can sell collectibles in the form of NFTs. Yeah. Obviously, you can do shows. Yeah. You can live stream. You can do concerts. Yeah. So it's a space for content. Well, that's actually exactly what our clients want, right? So even the hospitality spaces would be used for events and for art galleries and stuff like that, right? So it's just basically a brand named space where you can stick some content. Great. That's a perfect way to put it. Yeah. Perfect. So we're on the same page there. That's good. Yeah. Okay. And now with your current company, Everyrealm, so you guys are going to aggregate that content or also create that content? Yeah, we create all the content that we put in the metaverse. We not only create content for the metaverse, we also create content related to the metaverse. We have an educational Realm Academy, which is a series of online courses related to the metaverse. And basically, it teaches people how to get started with the metaverse. If you don't even know how to set up your wallet, you don't know how to buy land, that's one way that you can get started. Gotcha. Can one come and buy land through you, or how does one go about finding land to buy right now? So we don't really offer this option right now. We do have some partnerships that we work together on acquire land and developing it. But for retail investors, I think the best way to buy land is through the marketplaces like OpenSea. Yeah. The websites of each virtual platform like Decentraland or Sandbox. Each of them has a marketplace that offers land. Got it.
Okay, so you recently wrote the analogy of calling Decentraland or Sandbox a metaverse is like calling website the internet. Can you unpack that sentence?
That is something I did write, and you were good to find it. I wrote that because a lot of people have this misconception that the metaverse is one thing, and some people also think that each of these people are building a metaverse of their own. But the reality, I think, is that the metaverse is something more than just one virtual platform or a virtual world. Mm-hmm. It's a network, essentially, of all these things. It's a network of 3D virtual worlds, mm-hmm. platforms, hardware, software, infrastructure, whatever you call the internet right now, a protocol is what the metaverse should be in the future. Mm-hmm. So this is why I think a lot of people get confused when they think about what the metaverse is. Obviously, there is no clear definition right now. You can read many different definitions online.
Yeah, no, for sure. In fact, I've been relating to the metaverse is basically a graduation of the internet from 2D to 3D, like where all these different solutions that you have, Decentraland, Sandbox, and so on, are kind of like the new age websites, right? So especially for social apps where people just don't want to have the same experience of scrolling anymore. So they want something more interactive. Everybody's totally zoomed out, in terms of like social meetings and events. Nobody wants to do events online anymore. And people are just not paying attention. We need to have a better way to have people pay attention online, right? In this online verse. So for me, the metaverse is a totally perfect progression out of the noise and into kind of a world where you have all your senses catered to, just like in the real world.
It does create some distraction, obviously, because it's something that you will use to spend time. So
yeah.
In some cases, it can be something that you use to procrastinate and not do your work, but it can also be fun. It can also be a way for you to relax and escape from real life.
That's Ready Player One right there, right?
Yeah.
Life needs escaping from, and got to reconsider your life, right?
I hope our world doesn't end up like Ready Player One.
Yeah,
we have more things to do in real life.
I know. When I look at the metaverse, just like your clients and investors look at the metaverse and they see dollar signs, right? Some people look at the metaverse and they see excitement, right? We get a new product to use, something really cool. And these are the same people that are big on social media, right? And some people look at it and see business, right? So opportunities and to promote the business to make more money. So, and then of course, investors into land, right? So every real estate investor today that kind of heard about the metaverse is wondering, how do you choose a plot in the metaverse? And I saw you recently posted about different factors to consider. Can you unpack and can you kind of elaborate on those factors? Like if I want to go and buy land in Decentraland right now, for example, what do I do? What do I look for? How do I choose?
One of these factors, obviously, as mentioned earlier, before you go to the map and see where you are buying land, is to decide if the platform is worth your investment. Right. And you have trust and faith in the team building this product that it's going to be a massive success in the future.
Right.
So if you're convinced, then you can move to the next step, which is how do you evaluate or what factors do you use to choose where to buy land? Some factors that you can use is that you can look at comparable sales on nonfungible.com or OpenSea before you do the next step, which is to evaluate if the parcel is close to a road, that it has more value and it will sell higher in the future. If it's closer to the Genesis Plaza, it's obviously going to be a lot more valuable. And obviously, other thing that you need to consider is what's the district that the parcel is located. Because of the neighborhood that's around it, because of the brands that are around this specific parcel, it makes it more valuable. Obviously, there's a mantra that came from the real world that location is something important that you should pay attention to before you buy. But I mean, I have some beef with this mantra because in some cases, not some cases, you can teleport very easily with 2 clicks. So it might make no sense in the future. Right now, it makes sense. I can give an example. One person sold one parcel of digital land that was neighboring Snoop Dogg's estate in the sandbox for $450,000. Yeah, these are some things that were brought from the real world to the metaverse real estate, and I'm not sure if they're going to resonate in a few years from now.
That's so interesting. I think the assumption for that was the fact that when people experience the metaverse, they will kind of walk past this new asset or kind of be able to access maybe the villa or the events if they have close access, which may or may not be the case, right?
It may not or may not be the case. In some cases, if the world is not a continuous world where you can just walk from one parcel to another, it doesn't make sense.
That's crazy.
If the avatar stops at the edge of the virtual world, then you cannot go to the next parcel, then you don't know who's your neighbor.
This is insane. This is like kind of buying websites that are, I don't know, instead of Facebook will be like Facebooks or Facebook 1 or Facebook 2 and stuff like that, right? And we don't even know what the search engine is going to be like. Or are you guys going to be the search engine for the metaverse?
There is no search engine in the metaverse. So we don't know that either.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a big one, right? So if you guys are governing content in the metaverse and indexing and cataloging it, right? The content or the map, the Google Maps / the search engine, because the Google Maps really is the search engine kind of, right? On the map. I can find a restaurant, I can find an experience, I can find events, all of that, right?
That is a great service that no one has thought of offering right now. I can see that being a business. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Right. Royalties go to Yale tomorrow.
We should act on it.
Today.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely a great idea.
Thank you. I'm, for one, like, I've been in marketing for like 10 years. And before that, I've been in finance. So I see kind of what the industries are developed, how the industries are developed. And we were one of the first businesses to use Facebook and ads and all of that stuff, because I was kind of the right generation to do that. Unfortunately, I'm no longer the right generation to do the metaverse, right? So we went on and hired people of the new generation, right, to do the metaverse and that solid block. So that's kind of funny, right? So the evolution of that stuff. But I have a lot more questions, Kostas, because we're definitely just at the top of exploring our metaverse. So first of all, or second of all, NFTs. You talked about NFTs, right? How do they figure in the metaverse? How important they are? Is a plot of land always sold with an NFT? On fashion and avatars, and where can you sell them? How can you leverage them?
So yeah, a virtual plot of land is an NFT, and you can use it to prove that you own digital land in a virtual platform. There are multiple ways that you can leverage this. Obviously, we mentioned earlier some ways that you can generate revenue by owning land. But besides that, there are some other assets in the same ecosystem that you can purchase in the form of NFTs, like digital wearables. Decentraland offers names. Axie Infinity has these little cute monsters that you can use to play their game and make money, actual money, so-called play to earn. It's more like work to earn these days, but I mean, the games need to be a little more fun than that.
All right, so that makes sense. So metaverse has been kind of associated with VR for some reason, even though most of the metaverses right now are kind of totally 2D experiences as I've seen them. Is that because VR hasn't been developed enough to offer an amazing experience, or maybe not everybody has an Oculus? Like, do you have any opinion on that?
I think that's because the news portrayed that you need an Oculus or a headset to enter the metaverse. I've read a lot of articles that have this usual picture of someone wearing a headset. So that's the image they portray for the metaverse. And
yeah,
I don't think VR or AR is the only way that you can experience the metaverse. Obviously, you can experience it in a 2D environment.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that there might be a lot more interest when you use VR or AR technology to experience the metaverse.
Right. So beyond Meta, and also I think Microsoft has some VR experiences for the metaverse. Is there anything else?
From what I heard, there is the Apple Glass, the Microsoft HoloLens, and Facebook has their version, which is a Meta Oculus. So these are the three companies that are developing hardware to experience VR. Presumably, they're going to develop their own metaverse version in the future.
Okay. So again, we have these big corporations, right? Battling it out in the new product space, right? So, I mean, I was very bullish on Google Glass. I was one of the first people to get it. And it used to be kind of like an embarrassing thing, I guess, because it didn't work well for the consumer market. But I guess Google didn't give up. I think developing pretty much the same thing, right? Then Google already has all the infrastructure built out. How cool is that, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to actually having this VR experience enhance my life and all the Zooms that we're doing all day. It's got to be
obviously, they are going to be closed ecosystems.
Interesting.
So that I don't expect, for example, that using Apple Glass, you will be able to use the same thing in Facebook or in Microsoft's version of the metaverse. They will need to do some kind of cross-platform interoperability that you can use it.
Yeah, interesting.
Which is very hard to do right now.
Yeah.
Not only in closed environments, but also in open ecosystems like Decentraland or Sandbox. You can even move one asset from one platform to another, even if you have it on the same blockchain.
For sure, right? I've heard of several startups, not one, but several that are working on the interoperability solution between the assets in different metaverses.
Which company is it?
I'll look them up afterwards, but it was kind of funny to me. Like on the one hand, this could be the case for too early for its time because we really don't know yet what even the rules are going to be, what the metaverse really is. But I thought it was interesting that they're already thinking about it because just because blockchain industry is now over 10 years old and we see the problems in interoperability for many solutions, right? So they kind of went ahead and looked at different metaverses and say, okay, I just bought a piece of clothing in this metaverse, but I can't wear it in a different metaverse, right?
Yeah, that's right. This specific cloth, this specific image is made to work only in that specific metaverse.
Right.
In order to move it to another platform, you need to optimize it.
Yeah.
So that's not actually interoperable.
Right. Absolutely.
If you have to optimize into another engine or even at the same engine, if you still have to work it, imagine that you have something on the blockchain that moves around all the time, but you don't touch it. You don't touch it. It's always there. You can use it wherever you are.
Right. Absolutely. And especially like if you talk about VR experiences, that the optimization is going to be much more difficult, right? But I think I understand what you mean. And I actually haven't even thought about it. I thought it was just a matter of transferring the design of it to a new place, which likely will result in you just copying something into a new space. And that's against the rules of the NFT, right? Because you're kind of going to have to clone something into a new space.
So then you have two assets that are exactly the same, but they exist on two different platforms.
Exactly. So likely to solve this, maybe you would need to take the asset out, the actual asset will be sitting in between the metaverse and then create like kind of maybe a mirror or a borrowed projection into each that you can use it. I mean, I don't even know if there is a use case or a need for it right now. That's kind of like...
I don't think who can actually do this right now.
Yeah.
The computing power that we have in our times.
You don't think we can do that right now? And we don't even know if we need it right now. Did anybody say that they needed to clone assets from one metaverse to the other?
They don't want to clone it, but they want to be able to transfer it, just like you move your Bitcoin or Ethereum from one wallet to another. You would love to be able to move your Bitcoin to another chain.
Oh, so you can't move the NFTs that you created and you bought in Decentraland?
you can't. If you buy something, if you buy an asset, if you buy land in Decentraland, you are locked to use it in Decentraland. You cannot move it to another virtual platform.
You can sell it. You can sell the NFT, right? Via OpenSea. Yeah. So really, that use case is already solved, right? So the NFT itself, the financial instrument for the use of that specific asset, whatever it is in that metaverse, is actually interoperable. You can sell the financial instrument. But even in the real world, if I bought an NFT to use at the Marriott Hotel, I'm not going to be able to use the same NFT at the Hilton, right? So that actually is not a use case. So what I'm saying is that sometimes people go and assume that interoperability is needed, but they haven't defined what interoperability is.
Right. For gamers, they have defined what they need to do. They want to move their skins. They want to move their history, their player history from one platform to another. They want to be able to use the guns they play the games from one platform to another. Yeah, the same thing applies for virtual worlds because you can dress your avatar. You want to be able to use it everywhere, not just in that specific world. Even your digital identity, your avatar, it should be the same everywhere. Why will it be different?
Okay.
Let's say you, for example, you use the same handle in all your social media.
Yeah.
You are able to do that because someone else didn't take that handle before you.
Yeah.
So why not have the same avatar that looks exactly the same everywhere?
Sure. So I saw yet another startup that's creating a unified identity for all the metaverses that you can plug into. So that's pretty cool too, right?
Yeah.
So all the apps for the metaverses are starting to appear, and that's really, really exciting because it means that we are onto something really big, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So Kostas, what is going to expect us in the metaverse space, right? And what are you guys going to develop in the near future that we should look forward to?
We have a lot of interesting partnerships in the works. One of them is obviously Narcos. Another is a partnership with the Alexander brothers, the real estate agents. But our long-term goal, where I see our company being in 3, 4, 5 years, our goal is to become the Netflix of the metaverse. Just like you think of Netflix whenever you want to stream a movie or a series, we want to be the go-to place, the go-to platform when people think about the metaverse and when they want to look for educational, experiential, or gaming content in the metaverse.
Wow, I love it. Well, you guys are onto something, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you joining. I just want to mention to everybody here that we actually want you to experience the metaverse, and we're going to do that through a live session with Kostas on April 5th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And that will be our chance to share a live visit to Everyrealm. So tune in on April 5th. And until then, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or by visiting our website at solidblock.co/podcast. If you enjoyed the show, share, subscribe, rate, spread the word about Everyrealm, about Solid Block. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and any other platform. Follow Everyrealm. They're doing amazing things. Thanks for listening and see you next time.
Thank you.